Streaming now, this is the Wood TV Live Desk.
And good morning, everyone. Once again, Phil Pinarski here with the Wood TV Live Desk. Hope you're having a great start to your Thursday. We are still at the JW Marriott in downtown Grand Rapids for the 2023 West Michigan CEO Summit. We're talking to another business leader here in Michigan. It is Tim Soughton with Business Leaders for Michigan. Tim, good morning. Thank you for being here. I know it's kind of early.
Good morning, Phil. It's great to be here in Grand Rapids again.
Absolutely. And, we're talking to everybody so far and just kind of getting their initial thoughts on the summit so far. What are you thinking of it? First things you see, what does it feel to be kind of, brushing shoulders with a lot of the business leaders here in West Michigan?
Well, as always, here on the west side of the state in Grand Rapids, it's a great turnout this morning, and I'm really looking forward to hearing what some of our most prominent leaders here on this side of the state have to say.
Right, yeah, no, that summit should be getting started in just a few short moments. Tim, kind of just touching on your Business Leaders for Michigan. Tell us a little bit more about what you guys do and sort of your mission as a company.
Sure. Well, Business Leaders for Michigan is the state's business roundtable. So we are comprised of the chief executives of the state's largest employers. And our mission, ever since our inception, has been to make Michigan a top 10 state. Now, what we think that means is a state with a strong, healthy economy where, all of our citizens have the opportunity to prosper. And that means making the state attractive to both job providers and job seekers.
Right. And kind of one of the questions I really wanted to ask you, Tim, is we heard from Dr. Bohr with Calvin University just a few moments ago, just kind of talking about some of the issues that Grand Rapids is sort of facing West Michigan as far as business is concerned. How do you see sort of the future of Michigan as a state, or even just West Michigan as a region? What's the future of business sort of look like there?
Well, it's a really great question, Phil. It's the one, in its essence, we deal with at the heart of all of our work. We, in trying to make Michigan a top 10 state, we're constantly benchmarking Michigan's performance against the top performing states around the nation. And, we've made a lot of progress. When we first started doing this work in 2009, we were dead last in a lot of categories of, the major categories of economic performance. Our state leaders, both Republicans and Democrats, went to work. They changed our tax code, got us more competitive on that front, started doing things like paying down debt, making sure the state's fiscal house was in order. We've made investments in infrastructure, and we've done some things in terms of economic development to make sure that we're bringing jobs and investment to the state. But we have more work to do. It's we're not done. And so, one of our biggest challenges in terms of the future is making sure that we're establishing consistent policies and providing businesses with certainty, right? One thing that we've struggled with in the past is, what we like to call this Michigan 180, where, we'll start off in one direction with a certain policy, whether that be K-12 or economic development, what have you, and then we'll change direction if leadership changes, the legislature changes, and it doesn't matter who's in charge, that happens. And so we view our role, one of the most important things we can do is to provide some consistency across political terms and establish that certainty for businesses that businesses can rely on.
Right. Now, and you mentioned just sort of the change that sort of happened across business sections here in Michigan, and that kind of leads into the theme of the CEO Summit, Tim, and that is, of course, the creating resiliency in business, being resilient as far as, the business sense of it goes. So I just kind of wanted to ask, what does resiliency look like to you? What does being resilient mean, especially in the sense of being a part of a business?
Well, it certainly means being able to adapt to an ever-changing environment.
Right.
And, I think if the last few years have done anything for business in Michigan, it's been to sort of a crash course. It's provided a crash course on resiliency with the pandemic and, all of the changes that brought about, the accelerated pace of change in terms of, things like employees wanting to work from home, having to deal with, new regulations in terms of preventing disease spread, those sorts of things. And so business. I think business owners, employers have always had to be resilient. That doesn't change. It's just what's forcing that pace of change that is different.
Right. Absolutely. All right, Tim. Well, again, we really do appreciate you coming on the live desk today. It's been an honor getting to talk to you, and enjoy the rest of the CEO Summit today.
Thanks, Phil. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. And I want to thank everybody else for tuning into the latest edition of the Wood TV Live Desk. I'm Phil Penarski. We hope you stick around and stay tuned for the next interview we have at the 2023 West Michigan CEO Summit.